All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Walisha Wilson. I am the founder of New Life Second Chance Outreach Incorporated. Many of you may know me from other areas, but at this capacity, I am coming to you on behalf of New Life Second Chance Outreach, which is a nonprofit that I started when I got out of prison in 2011. We are joined by our board of directors, one of our board of directors, Andrea Atkins, who's in Columbus, as well as Kelton Biggs, who's in Columbus, Georgia as well. This will be about a 30-minute to 1 hour event, just to let you know about our new services that we will be starting today. We'll start taking applications once this is over. The application will be live on the website to submit for those that you serve who are recently released, but are finding challenges with finding an employment, housing, and whatever they need because they don't have the critical documents that they need, which are birth certificates, IDs, and sometimes bus passes to get back and forth to school and work. And so first want to say thank you to the generous donors who donated about $1,400 to us last year during our $2 for Second Chances annual fundraiser that we currently have going on right now. And we specifically wanted that fundraiser to go towards helping individuals that we serve. We exclusively serve individuals who have been impacted by a criminal record, and we serve them mainly to assist them with finding employment. But what we find is you cannot get employment with ID. And it's very challenging getting out of jail or incarceration or immigrant detention, and you don't have the documents that you need. So we wanted to do our part to do that, as well as the ongoing support that we're asking folks to support as well. A lot of folks take it for granted of having an ID, but you don't know the power of having an ID as opposed to a prison ID, because you can't get a job with that. You need to have a Georgia issued ID. And so we just wanted to give an opportunity for Andrea and Kelton to introduce themselves if they want to say anything before we continue.
Feel free to take it away, Kelton.
Okay, they say ladies first, so I was technically waiting on you. But good afternoon, everyone. I really do hope your day is going well. My name is Kelton Biggs, like Miss Walisha stated earlier. I'm in the Columbus area. I actually work inside of a career center where we do our part to change lives through the power of work. So if you have any questions or you need resources about jobs, definitely feel free to come see me and I'll help you however I can.
Kelton's always a tough act to follow. Hello, I'm Andrea Atkins. I live in the Columbus, Georgia area. I'm a librarian and an activist, and I am happy to do what I can with New Life Second Chance Outreach.
Thank you so much, Andrea and Kelton. And from this point, I wanted to be able to show you all this month it is Reentry Awareness Month. And this is our sixth year requesting that the governor recognize Reentry Awareness Month throughout the state. And we just wanted to show you our upcoming events that we have. As soon as I can hide this floating meeting control, it gets on my nerves. Are you able to see the screen? So if you go to our website, which is www.nlscoinc.org, go to the upcoming events tab. There is a calendar of all of our events, but as you scroll down, you'll be able to see what we got going on with the flyers and the events and things that we have going on. Today, we're doing the new service Q&A, which will give you information about the fee assistance and the eligibility requirements. On the 7th, which is this Thursday, we're going to be hosting Reaching the Unbanked and Underbanked. A lot of folks are really still depending heavily on money orders and going to check cashing places and things that are really risky financially. And so we're going to have that to educate the community, not just individuals we serve, but anybody who is unbanked or underbanked, which is a very large portion of people who still use things like Cash App and Venmo, as opposed to being able to go to a bank. But it is particularly challenging for people who are formerly incarcerated, who get released and they only have a prison ID. So we're going to talk to them about how they can get their bank account started, as well as other interventions. On the 14th, we're doing an introduction with Honest Jobs. Honest Jobs actually helps people throughout the United States, and they exclusively only works with individuals who are impacted with a criminal record with finding jobs. And so they're going to be on there. They've got a lot of job opportunities available here in Georgia and particularly Florida. Chris Snyder's going to be on. She's the recruiter for Georgia and Florida. She does have, she's going to talk about those opportunities, but also how to navigate their website. And on July 18th, for those of you who don't want to get a job, because you're tired of the doors closing on you and you decide you want to be an entrepreneur, we've got you covered on that point too. We're going to have Project Restart, is a program I actually graduated from. If you have a viable business, you would have an opportunity to do this 12-week free and virtual program. You must be directly impacted or formerly incarcerated to be in that program. You'll have an opportunity to go through the program, learn a wealth of knowledge, and have the opportunity to pitch for funding to help with your business. So that will be a great opportunity. We hope you all would join us for that as well. And then on the 19th, we're going to have our 3rd annual Broken Crayon Still Color. A lot of the last time we had it in person was around 2018, 2019 in Columbus, but we haven't had anything in person since then. And this one is called Failure Is Not Final. We're going to have people all formerly incarcerated on that. People from doctors and professors and authors and business people who are all formerly incarcerated going to get on there and talk to you about the challenges they've overcome, whether it's incarceration, their addictions, and being in recovery, mental illness. So we want you to be able to join us for that. And then we're going to close the month out with a reentry vision board and goal setting workshop. And we're going to have some fun. We're going to give away some gift cards to folks who participate and come out for that. And just one special mention notice that it's going to be one that I'm moderating, because in my other hat that I wear, I do work at the Southern Center for Human Rights, where I'll be hosting and moderating an event called Punishing Poverty, which is going to address the high cost of fines, fees, and restitutions in the state of Georgia for people who are on probation. And that will be July 11th. And you can go on our website and register at the Southern Center for Human Rights for that event. We hope you would join us for that. So now I will stop sharing. Okay, there we go. We're going to go talk about the application. Like I said, with the application, we have board members throughout the state of Georgia. And so with the application, first and foremost, we want to let you know that the fee assistance that we will be giving is only for people who are recently released from prison. Black, white, man, white, no matter what kind of charges you have, if you have been recently released and you're having challenges with getting the fee assistance for your ID and your birth certificate, or if you found a job or you're going to school, but you're having challenges with getting back and forth, we will assist you with getting your bus passes or train passes to get back and forth to school. The monies, we do not offer any type of financial assistance to help with fines and fees, traffic tickets, rent or utilities, or money to get your driver's license back. So this money is only helping towards folks who are actively engaged and want to find a job, not because you just want to have ID because you're tired of having a prison ID. Funds are limited. We're only able to offer the services based on the funding that amount that we have right now. We have $1,400 that was donated last year through our $2 for Second Chances. We have hopefully another 1,000 that'll be in before the month is out. So we'll be able to help folks as long as we have the monies there. Also wanted to be able to let you know the application process. There are 2 applications. One application is for the individual who is applying for themselves, and the other application is for service providers, agencies, nonprofit organizations, or places of worship that work with individuals who are returning home. The one for the individual is much longer. It takes about 15 minutes as opposed to the one for provider, which takes about 5-10 minutes. And it asks you basic questions: if that person is currently incarcerated, if they're not currently incarcerated, when they were released, just so we can get a gauge on where they are, what their intentions are with getting their ID, and that kind of thing. Once you're approved, it takes about 10 to 14 days. We're going to do our best. We are a volunteer-based organization. And so we don't get paid. We don't get compensated. Any of the monies that are donated to us, we don't use them. And so because we are volunteers, we're not going to work harder. We used to work so much harder than smarter, but we're not going to be working hard as opposed to being smart. So therefore, if your application is not complete, we're not going to email and say your application is not complete. You're just going to get a letter saying it was denied because it wasn't completed, and that was going to be it. And we're going to skip on to the next person. Once you put it in, we're going to give you a courtesy call and say, hey, you've been approved. But once I call you twice and email you once or twice, I'm going to make 3 attempts, or one of us will make 3 attempts. And from that point, if you don't respond, we'll go to the next person. Like I said, funds are limited. So you want to make sure that if you don't have voicemail, you get those. This caller hasn't set up voicemail. If you know you're looking for jobs, you're looking for housing, you should set your voicemail up. You don't want to miss important phone calls from the Social Security offices and food stamp offices and places like that, because nobody's going to continue to keep calling. So once the application is approved, we review the application. You'll either get a letter or email from us stating you were approved or denied, and for what reason you were denied. If you were approved, from that point, we will send you a e-contract to sign that basically says you do understand that the funding is only available once in your lifetime. So for instance, Andrea comes to us next week and get our ID, and all of a sudden a month later, she says, I need you to help me again. No, you get the help once in your lifetime, because these are monies that people work very hard to donate. We're volunteering our time. And so you're going to get it one time, and that's going to be that. You will be required to uploading like proof of your income. And I know sometimes that gets a little, I hate it when people say, why do you need my income? But to be better stewards of the money that we've been donated, and also to make sure that it's being donated to folks who are really needing it for what they need it for. We want to give bus passes to folks who are trying to get back and forth to work, who are trying to get back and forth to school. We're not trying to get bus passes for people to try to get and go back and forth to the party up the street, or, to whatever. We want to make sure that we're being good stewards of the money. So we want to make sure that we can help you in the best way, but also that you have made efforts to help yourself. That's why we limited the individuals who have been recently released. And when we say recently released, within 90 days, individuals can apply for themselves. Also, if you're a correction staff working with them inside of jail or prison or detention center, you can apply on their behalf if you know that they're going to be getting out. Or if you're out and they've gotten out and they've come to you for some other type of assistance, and you notice that they don't have an ID, all they have is a birth certificate, then you as a provider could also complete that form and send it to us to request that. The only thing we do need to ask is that they have to have an address. So for instance, if they're doing IDs, right now, because we're going to be doing things in person, all monies are not going to be going to anybody's hand. Monies will either be going to the DMV or going directly to the vital records office for the birth certificates, or to the transportation vendors. So we're not giving out money. And so for the instance, someone needs a birth certificate, but they were born in Chicago, we would order the birth certificate online. The challenge with that is you can waste a lot of money, because once that money comes, or once the birth certificate comes to your house and is delivered and no one answers, they send it back. And the money that you get is not refunded. And birth certificates range from $32. Some of them range up to $40. Plus you get a second. We always recommend that when you order online or even go in person to get a birth certificate, you should always get a second, particularly because in order to get a Social Security card, you have to have a birth certificate. And nowadays, some Social Security offices are not open in person. So they would tell you to send your birth certificate, and it has to be an original copy. But the bad thing about it is Social Security office isn't really good at returning your stuff. So you may actually lose your birth certificate. So you would waste a lot of money trying to apply for a second birth certificate a second time, because you have to pay the full price, as opposed to ordering a second one the first time you order the first one, because they only charge you an additional $5. So normally what we have budgeted in, that if somebody needed their birth certificate, we will automatically give you a second one, so that you can have that, because it's only $5. So that in the event that you needed to get your Social Security, if they need to also get their Social Security card, they may have a Social Security card and they don't need a second So we want to be very serious about the folks. They say, I need my birth certificate, but I don't really have a mailing address. That's not going to help us if they're in a space or a place where we can't go in person. So right now we have decided to only service the Columbus, Georgia area because Kelton and Andrea are there. They would be the ones who would go with them in person to pay or swipe the card so that they could get their IDs there at the DMV or the birth certificates there in Columbus. Athens, because we have board members in Athens. And here in Metro Atlanta, we have 2 board members here. And when I say Metro Atlanta, that's Jonesboro, within 30 minutes of Atlanta. So you got Jonesboro, East Point, College Park, Atlanta, Lithonia, up in those areas, not too far. We may have some folks who may need some assistance in Rome, but as long as it's in the Metro Atlanta area. Now, that doesn't mean that for some reason we just absolutely cannot. If you're in Savannah or you're outside of those areas, we would do our best to try to work with you because we want to make sure people are being served, and we would have to get together to see how we can work with you and how we can kind of coordinate that. But we do not send money. So in the instance, if you are in Savannah and you say, I have a client, I really want to get this, can you help with this or whatever? And we say, we don't send them any money. If you say, okay, well, my agency is willing to pay for it, if y'all are willing to reimburse us, maybe we could do something like that. But as far as sending a client money, that's not something we're able to do. But if you're able to work on your end with going somewhere in person to get them and make sure they got it and sending us a receipt or whatever, we're willing to work with you on that. But right now it is Metro Atlanta, Columbus, and Athens. And we're going to get the questions in 1 minute. Let me see. Eligibility requirements: you must be at least 17 years old. You must have at least 1 felony conviction on your record. And a lot of folks sometimes they'll give me a lot of crap about that. And they say, you only serve people with felonies. No, we don't. This organization serves individuals who are impacted by a criminal record, as well as individuals who don't even have a criminal record, such as the first offense, or people who had an arrest on their record. We serve individuals who have something on their record that is keeping them from gaining employment or housing. And that could be an arrest. You could have never even been convicted, but the arrest is being shown on there, or you're on the first offender. However, it is very personal with me with a felony because I had a felony, and I know for a fact that people can walk into any job most of the time with a misdemeanor and get a job. It is where the felony comes in, that people who aren't as qualified as you were with a felony, because they had a misdemeanor, they were given an opportunity as opposed to you. So that is more of a grade of a challenge when you have a felony. And because just to show love, because so many laws are being passed and so many things are being passed for people with nonviolent offenses and people with misdemeanors, that's not really fair for the folks who have felonies. And so we want to really focus our time and our money on helping individuals who are having the most challenges. And so we can't help everybody. So we have to narrow it down to the folks who are impacted the most and the worst, and those are individuals with felony convictions. So that's why you have to be at least 17. And we say 17 because in the state of Georgia, you can literally go to adult jail at 17. That is when you're actually entered into the prison system. Even though it'd be great, we're advocates are working on raising that age to 18. Right now it's 17. And so you must have at least 1 felony conviction on your record. You must reside in or near Metro Atlanta, Athens, or Columbus. And you must have been or will be released from incarceration or immigration detention within 90 days. Now, why do we say 90 days? Because that is the most vulnerable time people are getting out. A lot of folks, sometimes it takes people a year to find a job, but definitely within the first 90 days, people want to start looking for employment. You've been out for a year and a half, 2 years. You've come across some money somewhere to help you get something, to get your ID. So that's why, because we were limited on funds, that's what we narrowed it down to. Let's see here. Applications that are not complete or have incomplete responses in applicable sections will be denied for assistance. Again, we're an all volunteer org, and no donations go to salaries, only services. And at this point in time, an application will be viewed only on the days that we're open, which are Tuesdays through Friday, 9 to 5. And like I said, it'll take 10 to 14 days to be reviewed and screened. None of the information collected will be shared outside of our organization. If approved, the applicant will only be called twice and emailed once. Therefore, if your voicemail is not set up or is full, you're encouraged to set up or delete older voicemail so as to not miss our call. We do not text you. Once we have called twice and emailed you once, once we have called twice or emailed once, your application will be denied and you'll have to apply again. And all emails will be coming from feeassistance@nlscoinc.org. Before we take any questions, we want to let you all know we are donating. We're requesting for donations. And we're accepting donations for this, even if you got $2. We have 2 campaigns, and a lot of times folks throw stuff up and they'll say, oh, I got a response. No, we have 2 campaigns. One is our Dignity in Housing campaign. We believe that everybody deserves dignity in housing, regardless if they have a felony or not. But even people with felony records deserve housing. So we would like to start a housing program. And this is what we're having monies dedicated to that housing fund program, as well as the $2 for second chances. We do have a Facebook fundraiser that is going on, and sometimes the Facebook fundraisers won't allow you to do $5. So if you do only want to donate $2, you can do that through Cash App or Venmo or something like that. But if you're able to support our efforts, we would greatly appreciate it, because without your support, we really couldn't do this. And like I said, none of us receive salaries. We volunteer our time. I've been doing this for 7 or 8 years. Andrea and Kelton's been around for a couple of years, and I'm grateful for all of our board members who volunteer their time outside of their busy schedules. So for this time, I want to show you where you would go to, before we take any questions, where you would go to actually apply for the application. You would go to our website, again, nlscoinc.org. You would go down to the About Us and Services, and you would go to Services Offered tab. Once you go to the Services Offered tab, you'll see all of our services, and then you'll see where it has the fee assistance. And from that point, you'll be able to click on the application, and ask that you make sure you read the top part of the application, because we don't want anybody getting through the bottom part of the application and saying, why was I not able to apply? Now, we're really big here on empowering people and not enabling people. So if you are out, we do not, loved ones are excluded from applying on behalf of a loved one. Why? Because we get so many calls from people, particularly women, who are looking for a job for their boyfriend, looking for this, looking for that. And the folks who need the stuff are sitting right there on the couch, or the folks who need it are not doing the calling. So if they need the assistance, they need to apply for the assistance themselves, if you're not an agency or organization that's representing them. So there is the link to the application. So you have the individual application as well as the agency application. And you would click on the applicable application. I don't know if can y'all see the application? It is a Google form. And like I said, I don't know how many questions it is, but it'll take you less than 5 minutes, because they're basically, is this person currently incarcerated, their phone number, if they're currently incarcerated, with their GDC number, if they're unsheltered, the last place of incarceration. You would do that, put their mailing address, and you would submit, basically saying that, you understand that by putting the application, is not guaranteed that you're going to get assistance. The application has to be screened. And so other than that, you would just go and complete whichever applicable application that you're interested in, whether you're applying as an individual or as an agency or place of worship on behalf of an individual that you serve. And again, if you get approved, you'll get an email saying that you'll be approved, and we would send you a document that would say you've been approved for this amount of money for your birth certificate, or on the behalf of the person that you're applying for, just something so you can sign, and that'll be taken care of. So at this point, if anybody have any questions, we'd be willing to take those questions. I know I talk fast, and I need to really, really work on that. Anybody have any questions?
I have a quick question. I know that
Okay.
you mentioned that if we did it for our clients, that you would reimburse, but we can essentially just send people who need services to your website to do it themselves, right? Or do
Yeah.
we have to start the process?
No, you don't have to start the process. Particularly, that form really is for individuals who maybe are, let's say, prison counselors. You got somebody that's about to be released within the 30, 60 days, and you want to go ahead and get the process started. Now, if you have a client there, we really encourage people empowering other folks. We don't want you sitting at a desk and completing an application out for them. Show them how to do it or give them the link if that's something that they're able to do. But we wanted you, but if they're sitting there with you, Vanessa, you would say, go to this website and complete this application, complete the individual application. The other one is particularly for folks who either are still incarcerated and will be released, or if you're working with a population that may be older, or a population that may have just served 20, 30 years. And of course, they're being released to this technology world and they have absolutely no idea what they're doing. If they're sitting there in front of you, I would prefer, and if they're feeding you this information, I prefer that if you're going to complete the application on their behalf, complete the individual application. That way, and complete it as them. But if they say, well, I don't have an email or anything, then it's best to complete it as an agency, because we have to have the email address to be able to communicate with you that the application has been received, that application is being screened, and that the application has either been denied or accepted. So if you're dealing with somebody like that and they don't have an email, it's probably best for you to just do it as on behalf of the agency, which is going to be the shorter one. Because eventually, if you put their phone number in there anyway, we'll probably call them and follow up with them to see what information they have. And if they say, well, they don't have a phone, like if you're dealing with somebody who's unsheltered, but they want to find a job, but they just happen to be outside right now, or they're in a shelter, they don't have a phone, they don't have an email address, and they're not really big on the computer thing, then it's probably best to just complete it as an organization.
Okay, thank you. And I had one more question, and I'll be quiet. I'm sorry.
We like questions. We don't want to be the only ones talking.
For the Honest Jobs on the 14th, is that something that I would attend virtually and then just be the resource for the people we serve, or can I send them that information for them to sign up themselves?
All of our stuff, we really want, if you got something and you're working with a population of people who we work with, and you know their emails, or you have mass email and say, hey, these are some events we think you should check out. We encourage you to join, because you know that it as a resource, but we also encourage people to allow people to do things for themselves, because a lot of times we get into these mindset, and I want to turn this into a different topic, but we get into a mindset of wanting to help people more than what they want to help themselves. So we'll have tons of people on these calls. I want to get this information about a job because we want to tell everybody else about this job, as opposed to saying, hey, Kelton, they're going to be having an honest job on the 14th. You might need to join this. Kelton ain't got no job. Kelton ain't going to school. There's no reason why Kelton can't attend an hour and a half to find out about a job that he needs to go get. Why are you taking your time to join something only to give him the information that he ain't going to use? So all of our information, I personally am very proud of the events that we have, because these are events that I wish that I had access to when I was released from prison, but also in seeing that the folks that we work with, they're needed. A lot of folks say, well, I ain't got time to be going on with no financial wellness. Yeah, you do, because you need that in order to get a house, and you need to have your budgeting, your money management together. This vision board workshop is a way to focus. Some people have prayer closets where they put stuff up together, but vision boards is something to have your goal. Write your vision down and make it plain. And that's the purpose of a vision board, to be able to put yourself on track, organize what it is you need to do. So when we're having these events, we're not just having them just to do, we're having them to equip people, to empower them so that they can be restored. So yeah, definitely join, but also if you have clients, share it with them, especially the ones that you know want to work. Now, we don't help everybody with a criminal record. We help folks who want to help themselves. You want to go to work, you have a felony record, you want a job, we don't have no problem sending you jobs that our employers send us. We don't really get a lot of housing in, but we get an occasional few landlords that say, hey, I got a house, I'll rent to somebody as long as they can pay it. I don't care about them having a felony. We will share that information. But what we're not going to do is continue to work for free to help folks who are not helping us. Because after a while, when you go places and people see you don't come, they stop having it. And then it's oh, we need you to have this stuff. And we've tried this several times. I've tried quitting this several times. It just doesn't work because I have this passion for it. But it gets tiring and it gets exhausting. So yeah, we have a lot of great benefits and great events that we have, and we want you to share people and allow them to do it. We even have one if they say, well, I don't know how to really work Zoom. We did that one a couple of months ago. You can go to our website to contact us, go to our YouTube page, and I facilitated a intro to Zoom to show them how to etiquette on Zoom, muting yourself, how to join meetings and everything. So it's a lot of great information on our YouTube page as well. Anybody else had any questions? The link for the YouTube page. Let's see here. Let me go back, contact us. And then we're going to go down here. And I'm going to drop that in there. But we are New Life Second Chance Outreach on YouTube and all of our social medias. And I just dropped the link to the YouTube page in the chat. But we have a lot of our past webinars and events on there, a lot of informative information on there. And other than that, if we don't have any other questions, but like I said, if you got clients who've been recently released within 90 days, they're at least 17, one felony conviction, and they're residing in Columbus, Metro Atlanta, or Athens, definitely complete the application. If they're outside of those areas and you really feel like they really trying to work, they're really making effort to go to school or go to work, they're just having challenges, or they got a job, but they just cannot afford the monthly bus pass or something like that, let us know, call us, email us, and we will see what we can do to get with you to work with them to make sure they're getting what they need. Because ID is something that establishes your identity, and when folks get out, we don't want to be walking around with prison IDs, so we do, it's something they should have anyway before they even release birth certificates and social security cards. But it's not being done. So I think we need to be the village and do our part to help folks with what they need. Any last questions? I want to make sure everything was explained as far as who was eligible, where we're having it at. And you can apply for more than one at a time. So it's not, which one do I got to choose? If a person needs their birth certificate and their ID and a bus pass, if we have the money available, we'll help them with all of them. But of course, it'll be that one time. Other than that, then we're good to go. And thank you all so very much for supporting us. And we hope to see you at the rest of our events, particularly the one that's coming up this Thursday on the 7th for being unbanked and underbanked so we can get you banked. Thank you all so much. Thank you, Andrea and Kelton, for joining.
Definitely enjoy your day.
Thank you. Y'all too. Bye-bye.